Welcome back. I'm here on an unusually sunny and warm winter day in the beginning of February, driving back to the Netherlands from Germany. Did some driving around today on the Autobahn and wanted to kind of take advantage of the sunny, warm weather and really see what my car could do. But that's not the focus of today's video. In today's video, I want to talk about this sign. Do you know it? Have you seen it before? If you've never seen the sign before, or even if you have, stick around because we're going to talk all about it. So let's jump into it. Slower traffic, keep right. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? And as I'm driving on the German Autobahn right now and heading back to the Netherlands, I'm reminded beautifully of how slower traffic keeping right works so well with lane discipline in Germany. And the reality is in the United States and Canada, it doesn't work so well like this. Even though officially in the United States and Canada and pretty much everywhere else in the world, slower traffic is supposed to keep right and the left lane is only for passing. By the way, I'm going to be talking about predominantly left-hand drive, where you drive on the right side of the road, where the right lane is generally the driving lane and the left lane is the passing lane. So if you're from a country where it's right-hand drive and you drive on the left side of the road, just flip right and left in this video. So I'm driving in Germany right now and I'm almost back in the Netherlands, and you know, in Germany you have to be very strict on the highways about lane discipline. You always have to keep to the right unless you're passing, and even when you're passing and driving as fast as you want, which is the freedom that you can do on the German Autobahns, if someone's coming up behind you, you have to move over. That's the rules of the road. And when you think about that, that is the reality of slower traffic keeping right. That's exactly what it means. But I feel like drivers in the United States and Canada don't understand that concept. Reason being, these signs have been popping up more and more on highways in the United States and Canada, but people still don't understand what they mean. I've talked about poor lane discipline in many of my videos before. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but every time I go back to the United States and Canada and I drive on the highways there, I'm constantly reminded of how bad lane discipline is. People staying in the left lane, not passing, you come up faster behind them, they're keeping back traffic, they're not moving over even if the right lane is free, and you end up passing them on the right side. It's incredibly infuriating and frustrating. And I feel like from my driving experiences in Western Europe, people generally have more awareness about this rule and generally follow it better. Now, nowhere is 100%, nowhere is foolproof. And even in Germany on the Autobahns where it's more congested or where you're driving through the cities, it's hard to keep right all the time. I mean, you have to use two lanes in those situations. But on a road like what I'm driving on now, it's easy to stay to the left if you're passing and people get out of your way, and keep to the right when you're done passing and the lane is free. And it makes for a much better driving experience, and it allows Germany to have these unrestricted Autobahns where people drive as fast as you want. For example, right now I'm doing 172 kilometers an hour, about 107 miles per hour, and I'm relatively comfortable in this left lane. Now that the sun's setting, I'm going to take my sunglasses off. Germany is not the focus of my video here today. My focus is this sign, slower traffic, keep right. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is because I think people don't really understand what this sign means. I still see people staying in the left lane on highways in the United States and Canada, even when this sign is clearly posted. Sometimes this also appears on digital signage, slower traffic, keep right. And people don't understand what that means, and it causes congestion, road rage, frustration, and you know, it makes for a really poor driving experience when you drive in the United States and Canada. So the first thing with this sign, people don't seem to understand that slower is a relative term, meaning if somebody is coming up faster than you, you are the slower traffic and you need to keep right. You need to move to the right lane.
If you're traveling in the left lane of a multi-lane road and a vehicle behind you is traveling faster regardless of your speed, carefully move over to allow the other driver to pass.
Now, I've heard people say, well, I'm doing 10 over and I'm in the left lane, and you know, the left lane is the fast lane and I'm already going 10 miles per hour over, so I'm not going to move over. No, that's not how it works. The left lane is the passing lane, the right lane is the driving lane, and I'm talking about a two-lane highway situation. And in that situation, you should keep to the rightmost lane at all times. You pass when you need to, and you only use the left lane to pass. And people think that there's this concept of slow lane and fast lane, and if you're going over the speed limit, you're automatically entitled to drive in the left lane. I don't understand this. Why can't you just drive in the right lane? I think it's out of laziness. Let me know in the comments below what you think, because I don't know why people insist on driving in the left lane in the United States and Canada, even when the right lane is perfectly free. I think it's maybe people who don't want to move out of the right lane when people are merging onto the highway, just out of pure laziness. But here's the thing, changing lanes doesn't cost you anything. If you actually pay attention and are more aware of your surroundings and only use the left lane and pass when you need to, it's actually possible to stay in the right lane and, pass when you need to and not cause an inconvenience to other drivers. So slower is a relative term, and the key thing to remember is the left lane is not a fast lane, it is a passing lane. You should be driving in the rightmost lane. And so this is why slower traffic keep right is important, because it's a relative term. So even if you're driving, 10, 15 miles an hour, I don't even care if you're driving 100 miles per hour in the United States. If somebody is coming up faster than you, you should be moving over to the right because you are slower traffic. Slower traffic keep right. And that's what you see in Germany on the Autobahns. Even if you're doing 120 miles per hour and someone's coming up faster than you, you should be moving over to the right. So the key thing is slower traffic keep right. Slower is a relative term. We really have to ditch this concept that there's a fast lane and a slow lane. That's not the case, even in the United States and Canada. I've seen some reports from Florida, even before I moved to the Netherlands, that they were going to start enforcing the rule of nobody driving in the left lane. In the United States, we have this term called left lane loafers, people who just stay in the left lane, or left lane camping. The Florida Highway Patrol and other agencies around the country were going to start enforcing this and ticketing people for doing that. There's a couple problems with that. One, if somebody's sitting in the left lane and a cop comes up behind them, or they see a cop, they tend to move over. Suddenly they remember the rules and they move over and they get out of the way of the cop. So it's hard for cops to actually enforce this in the United States. But secondly, I've seen cops just not even care and just kind of go around someone who's sitting in the left lane. We need to start enforcing this in the United States. So be sure to share this video because I want this message to get to as many people as possible. This sign means something. Slower traffic keep right. Slower is a relative term. Drive in the right lane and only use the left lane when passing. Don't sit in the left lane. Be mindful of who's behind you. If you're causing a traffic jam, if people are behind you, you're the one that's wrong. You need to move over to the right lane. The other complication with this is if you don't move over to the right lane, people have to go around you and pass on the right. So if someone is passing you on the right-hand side, you are in the wrong. That is not the side that people should be passing you on. People should be passing you on your left. You should be staying to the right. So the first clue that you're in the wrong is if someone has to pass you on the right because there's available space, you're not keeping right. And this is what causes aggressive driving and road rage in the United States. And the reality is, when people stay in the left lane and don't follow good lane discipline, it causes more aggressive drivers because speeders are going to speed regardless. And people don't like people weaving in and out of traffic, but when people stay in lanes and don't follow lane discipline and are just lazy drivers and unattentive, people are going to be weaving in and out of lanes, bringing a lot of hazard to other drivers, causing dangerous situations and just causing general frustration. If people were to keep to the right and not block the left lane, whether you like it or not, those speeders can just move on and get on their way. And that's the reality. It's actually safer. So this is another frustrating point when people don't understand the concept of slower traffic keep right. I can't tell you how many times in the United States that I've been driving and someone's just driving in the left lane, the right lane's completely free, and I take it upon myself to try to teach them a lesson. Maybe, flash my lights, get behind them, try to give them a clue to move over to the right, and they don't do it. They just get angry. I pass them on the right, they flick me off, they're frustrated, they're angry. And it's crazy because they're the one that's wrong. I'm not the one that's wrong. And I'm trying to explain that, but it's impossible to explain. And, they don't understand the term slower traffic keep right. And I'm coming up behind you, even if I'm going faster and you're already going, a little bit over the speed limit, you still should be moving over if the right lane is available. So it's really a shame to see that. I've stopped kind of doing that when I go back to the States because honestly, it's super frustrating and it doesn't change the behavior of drivers. People don't understand that the left lane is just for passing and they should be keeping right as much as possible. As you can tell, I'm super passionate about this topic, so let me know in the comments below if you're also just as passionate about this. I know there's a lot of variables with this and, nowhere is perfect. Even in the Netherlands, there's people who don't respect lane discipline. I find it to be less common, generally speaking. People are at least more aware and maybe they don't look in their rearview mirror for some time, but when they do look and realize, oh shoot, I'm keeping some cars behind, they move over. But it's still less frustrating for me when I drive here than compared to the United States, where people actually don't even understand that they should be moving over to the right. So once again, if you haven't seen this sign before, or if you start seeing this sign, pay attention to what it means. Slower traffic keep right. Slower traffic is a relative term. If somebody's coming up behind you and you're in the left lane, and even if you're going over the speed limit, you are slower traffic and you need to be moving to the right. So that's my rant for today's video. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you as passionate about this topic as I am? I know this type of discipline varies from place to place, so let me know where you live and what the lane discipline is like when it comes to left lane loafers. if you know people who drive in the left lane, or even if you just want to get more awareness for what this sign actually means, please share this video, because I want as many people as possible and as many drivers as possible to see this video and understand that slower traffic, keep right means slower traffic needs to keep to the right no matter how fast you're going. If somebody's coming up behind you, you shouldn't be in the left lane and you should be moving over to the right as much as possible. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Thanks so much for listening to my rant, and thanks so much for watching.